Welcome to Rap in Order, the interrogation of a hip-hop album, where we take some of the culture's most beloved hip-hop albums, put them on the stand, see if they stood the test of time. Now let's see who we got on the stand today. Dun dun. And welcome to another episode of Rap in Order. I'm First Class Regg.
And I'm Taurian B.
How you feeling today, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good?
I'm relaxed, you know. Hot Friday. Friday. What is the day?
I don't know. I think it's Monday. Tuesday.
No, it is. Yeah, it is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, did not know what day of the week it was.
This shit is all a blur, bro.
Yeah,
but I'm doing good too. We're gonna get into this really good throwback of an album that everybody is kind of familiarizing themselves with again. Wiz Khalifa and Currensy. Yes. Fly. Originally came out in 2009. Mm-hmm. It was just re-released on streaming. I think Wiz is kind of getting in the pocket of re-releasing a lot of his older projects on streaming. Like I think Cabin Fever, Taylor Alderdice are like slowly popping up. Cushion OJ. So yeah, originally this was released in 2009, and the pairing of Wiz and Currensy was always a big deal back then because they're like Cheech and Chong. Mm-hmm. You know, like they just match each other so well with the content and everything like that, and they're really good at picking out beats and stuff. So this is a big deal in the blogging era, the tail end of the blogging era. I think this.
Really? No, it was the beginning.
Was it the beginning?
Technically, like if you think about the blog era, you could say it was 2006, 2007 when it first started, right? When it kicked off. Yeah. And I say that the blog era kind of ended in 2012.
Okay, yeah. So sorry. So I didn't mean the tail end of the blogging era. This was like the end of like. This is the beginning of people starting to confuse mixtapes with albums. Right. Because this one came out and even though it was a mixtape, it was all original music. Right. So it kind of like was one of the first ones that kind of changed the scope of how mixtapes are.
Right. They more so changed the game. Yeah. As far as that. But I didn't mean to cut you off. I know you wasn't finished.
That was my point. That was what I was trying to say.
What I love about this project is the story of how they linked up. The story that I remember seeing is that on MySpace, like Wiz reached out to Currensy, and Currensy said like he must have missed it. Mm-hmm. So then when he finally signed on to Twitter, all of Wiz's fans was like, "Yo, Spitter, how you gonna shit on Wiz like that? Like he's a big fan of yours." And Spitter is just like a humble dude, and he was like, "Oh nah, like let me get with it." So then Wiz went down to where he lived at. I don't know where like Spitter lived at the time. And like he slept on Spitter's couch, and like they recorded the project, and it was just like magic. They said like it was so easy for them to work together, and there's another interview. Like I watched a lot of interviews, and hearing them talk about each other was something that like I really really like loved and enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So like Wiz was saying how like he was all about like Converse at that time, Converse and Vans, and Spitter put him on the sneakers and cars and shit like that. Like Wiz like wasn't hip to shit like that, and like how Spitter pretty much like kind of cultured him, and like Wiz said like it was fucked up because like Spitter would give him clothes because like at that Spitter already had a career because he was with No Limit, then he was with Squad Up, Young Money, Cash Money, so like he already had those connections, but he would give Wiz clothes, and Wiz was like, yo, I wear 11 and a half, like we don't wear the same size shoes, so I couldn't steal his sneakers, but as soon as I got money, I literally went out and bought every pair like sneakers that Spitter had, and I just thought that was like something that's really endearing because like they're like such good friends, right? And like even like in their Narwhal interview, like they did a thing where like they had to finish each other's sentences, and Narwhal asked Currensy, what do you have to say about Wiz? And Currensy was just like, he's my tall friend. And it was just funny because Wiz was like, he loved it because he was like, what you want me to say? That's my brother, that's my man, like, and he's the tallest friend I got. Like that nigga tall. Like that's all he had to say. And I was just like, yo, like this is a real friendship. And then there's what the last interview I'll talk about is when they were talking to Currensy about Wiz's success. And they were like, well, how do you feel? Because, you know, you kind of were in that lane first. And he was like, why would I feel any other way besides like happiness for my boy? Like he's my guy. and like you don't think that like I reap any of the benefits of being associated with him. Like we have an amazing mixtape together that I can tour forever now, and like I make pretty good music too, and I have some good fans. Like that shit don't sweat me. He said I have the career that I want. Like this is not like he said the difference is that a lot of people get stuck in careers and they have to deal with that. He said I'm doing exactly what the fuck I want to do, and he said and my boy is really out here like living like a rock star, and I love that shit for him. He said, but I really had the career. He said I can go places. I don't gotta worry about that shit. He said Wiz a little bit different. Like, you know what I'm saying? He had movies with Snoop Dogg. Like at that time, that was when he had that. So I just thought that was dope. And you could tell it's genuine, and it's kind of like really like it's refreshing to see their friendship, and like to see like there's no like envy, jealousy. It's not even they're not even competitive with each other. Like they just friends, and they just like be cheering each other on, and like they just bring the best out of one another. I think it's really dope.
I like how comfortable Currensy is with where he is. I think he's all about just maintaining his lifestyle, and as long as he can do that and provide for his son or his kids, I don't know if he has more than one, then he's fine. He loves cars. He loves putting out projects. I don't think there's another rapper with more albums than Currensy. I think he has the most fucking albums. Well, yeah, probably Too Short from like early 90s and on. But he's definitely up there. Like he just releases content like crazy.
Right. So and there's like some of them are mixtapes, some of them are albums. Gucci Mane is up there too if we count mixtapes and albums. It's a few artists that I could say that Tupac.
Yeah, Tupac is in there. Well, nah, I don't think Tupac has enough.
I'm bullshit.
But like after he died, obviously. But like, so this project we can get into it. Car Service came out. Car Service kicks it off. It was produced by Sledrin, who's a longtime collaborator of both of these gentlemen.
I have another thing to chime in on. The Neptunes absolutely influenced how they wanted this album to sound.
Yo, there's like, wait, which track is it? Track 2. Track 2, I actually wrote in my notes that it sounded like some shit that Pharrell would do.
Right. Like I truly feel that whatever vibes they were going for, I was like, yo, Chad and Pharrell probably could have like got in there and like worked with them. But like they made it's like it sounds great. It sounds amazing, but I'm just like the vibe that they were in, if they had the budget, they could have got in there with the Neptune. I actually hope maybe in the future later on like that does happen. But I just thought that like when I'm listening to it, right, and I'm going back to 2009 and I'm listening to this project, I thought the Neptunes produced it.
Yeah. There's
just a lot of assumption.
There's definitely a lot of tracks on here. Maybe like 3 to 4 tracks on here that I was like, damn, this sound like Pharrell. There's even like a 3 count, like how Pharrell does. But this one kicks it off really well. And I like how it's kind of transcended because, you know, they talk about a different type of car service, but it still holds test of time because fucking Ubers are around. Yeah. This one aged really well.
I think that this was like a great way to kick it off. And they're both like, you know, lyrically just like flowing with each other. And the fact that they recorded this project together, like I have to like that doesn't happen anymore now, especially with the way how the world is and the internet. Like you don't have to do anything in the studio together. These guys just had synergy, man. Like they just like eating food, ordering food and shit like that, smoking weed, like and just recording, and it was like easy.
The most simple of times. I do remember when when Wiz was like really, really getting out here and the internet like fucking loved him because 2009, that was when I first made Twitter, and like Wiz was always trending. Wiz was always trending. I just remember first listening to Kush and OJ and being like, damn, like this dude got something. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know yet. I still wasn't sold. But then like that year and then like up until like 2012, I think was his like craziest run, especially in the blog era.
Right.
And the same with Currensy.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well just say this now also because to go back to like what you said, like this mixtape, people thought it was an album because it was all original beats. Like this goes back to, ladies and gentlemen, me putting Wiz on the mixtape Mount Rushmore for rappers. Because what he did with his projects, like he made them sound like albums. Like he wasn't jacking for beats, anything like that. Like he did do that on a project, one of his mixtapes.
28 grams.
Right. But no, like he actually like made these projects his own with original production. And that's like why there was a bidding war for him Also, why fans became very upset with him because his debut album.
Oh, Rolling Papers.
Yeah, Rolling Papers was such like a commercial project. But I understood the vision. Like if you're Wiz, he's like, yo, I gotta get a project out to the masses. Like I have my core fan base, and y'all are getting mixtapes, and they're free. Think about that. Like you know what I'm saying? Like as an artist, like, well as a fan, like. How can you really be mad? Like, all right, cool. Like this album, you don't if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Just go listen to my mixtapes, guys. Yeah. I'm gonna keep putting out music.
I'm trying to reach more people.
Yeah, like Wiz is not like a selfish artist with his fans, and if you really think about it, like it makes sense. Like, yo, you my core fan base. I'm gonna put out a mixtape before I put this album out or afterwards, and I like y'all are good. But I got to do this commercial shit because I'm trying to take this to another level. Trying to enterprise. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. So. Car Service is followed up with All Over. I kind of already referenced it where the beat is amazing. These guys, their synergy is just perfect. It's like they get into each other's styles, and it's just like, yo, like I really kind of wish that this kept going on with them collabing.
Have you listened to their 2009 project?
Yeah, that's another one that went up on streaming recently.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of kept that going, but I do wish that this is something that they kind of like let play out a little longer, kind of like Red and Meth, but you know the individuality had to be there too, right? They was their own artists,
right?
So All Over is followed up by Checkpoint. Checkpoint is produced by Sledgerin, of course. Another one. Another one.
Nah, another big
and from this point you can kind of tell with their strong suits. So like Wiz is really good at melodies and he's really good with the choruses. So like I think the pattern on this album or mixtape is that Wiz kind of starts it off and then Currensy follows up and then you have
finishes.
And then you have Wiz comes back with the hook and the melody. It was fucking solid.
Nah, it was actually brilliant. And I'm pretty sure like because Currensy was like a part of two institutions, No Limit and Cash Money, he was able to like basically see something in Wiz and like just give him a lot of like knowledge and just be like, listen, man, you real good with the melodies, baby. You know, just do them hooks, baby. I come in, I fill in my 16. Just leave a spot for me to put in a little 16.
I just want to rap.
Yeah, I think that it was really like dope that they had that. And I think it was pretty selfless. Like I think Currensy saw it. Like he knew, like, all right, this boy about to go places. He about to do his thing. So
yeah, very, very selfless. That's one thing that I can say about Currensy as well. Like if people have followed Currensy, they know that, like you said, he's been through 2 to 3 different deals, but nothing bad ever comes out of like.
Right. Oh yeah, and he worked with Dame for a little while. That didn't like really like that. I think that was the first Jet Life that he put out with Dame. And that didn't go how he planned, but he still even like finds the good in that. He got a rock chain out of it.
Yeah, nobody ever says anything bad about Currensy.
Right.
Only person that I remember saying something not bad but a little shade was Freddie Gibbs because they put out Fetty together, and Freddie did an interview I think with Joe Budden it was, and he was like that project would have went a lot better if Currensy just did more. Like he didn't do much for it. And he was like, I really like that project. I think he just meant like with the promo of it.
Yeah, but I think that's Currency's MO. He puts his projects out and then he moves on.
He's on to the next.
Yeah, like you know, I get Gibbs doing that, but I think Gibbs just got weird energy.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing that now more and more. Fly niggas do fly. No, sorry, the Plains. The Plains is next.
Okay.
How you feel about that one?
So the Plains is something that like at this point in time, like I'm not. I've smoked weed, but I'm far from a stoner. But when I listened to this, I like thought I was like, yo, this is something that like you listen to while you smoking and like you like in transition. So I would like get my truck, and if I was with my boy Levon from the next building over, like we would ride around, and like this project we were playing a lot. And at that time, before you started working at Levi's, Levon working with us at Levi's. So we had to work on Saturday mornings, and we had to come in to like process all the boxes and the shipment. So we would drive down, and it only took 15 minutes to get down here on the FDR Drive to Soho. So we would take the West Side Highway so we could listen longer. And like we would listen to Plains, and I would smoke with him because we'd be in the basement processing shipment. So I didn't have to be on the sales floor. So we would just go in there high as fuck after listening to Plains.
Oh, that's crazy. That's a good memory.
Yeah, and I don't smoke that much, so it's like it's really funny, like me just going into the stock room and literally just being in a fucking trance, folding jeans.
I don't smoke that much either, but like it's rare. But like when I listen to songs like this, it kind of makes me want to smoke because I want to get in the zone that they was in when they made it. And I feel like when it's kind of like how Dr. Dre, when he makes a beat, he really wants you to listen to it through beats to encapsulate everything that he's trying to get across.
Right.
I feel like with weed songs, it's the same way, where it's like you can't really hear it a certain way if you're not smoking.
Yeah, that's very true. I think so. I think like they do that really well, especially like with setting the ambiance, and like who else can I say like does that as far as like weed smokers. Funny enough, because of this album and like some of the topics I want to talk about, I like listen to some Cypress Hill. And yeah, you gotta smoke weed to fuck with Cypress Hill. You do.
Yeah.
Like
I was never like a big Cypress Hill fan. My brothers were though.
Yeah, like they like Method Man and Redman. You don't gotta be high to fuck with them. Like you get it, but it's like you don't have to, right? But like Cypress Hill, like you kind of like gotta like smoke and like go out to like a party and shit and just be chilling and shit. Like it's one of those films.
Maybe I'll dig into their discography.
Yeah, bro, it's a trip.
So, Planes is followed by Fly Niggas Do Fly Things.
Yo, I love this hook.
I
love what they was doing with this, and like it was dope because like these two guys are like typical dudes that you wouldn't think like bag chicks, but like they do, like they court like gorgeous women. Like I've seen some of the women that like Currensy deals with. He's from New Orleans. Like there's gorgeous, like light skinned, green eyed Creole women from down there, and you know there's also like gorgeous chocolate, beautiful women from down there. And they have those amazing accents, and like Currensy be with all of them.
I feel like this kind of kicked off that era too, though, because like this era kicked off the normal type guys that aren't super lyrical, miracle, and they get these beautiful women without being all flashy.
Yeah, I agree. I also will say this, and obviously I'm not a stoner, but Currensy and Wiz made smoking weed in public cool and just like being weed smokers. Like they made it like a thing, and I think that was like when I started realizing how many women, how much women enjoy smoking weed and being stoners. Yeah. Because before it was like, oh, you know, shorty's lips is all dark because she's smoking.
They were reserved about it.
Right, like that. Like they started opening it up because like they were like talking about different strands, different things. Like when we would see niggas from the West Coast, we thought just weed was weed. Because at one point in New York, you know, you had fucking Hydro. You had Kush, you had Piff, you had Haze. Like that's all you had.
That was pretty much it,
right? And like before our era, it was Branson in the '90s where everybody used to go to get weed, right? So for the main part of it, like what like did people have to go off of? Like Wiz Khalifa and Currensy definitely made weed more mainstream. Yeah. Than like, and if somebody tries to argue that with me, like I think like you're dead. Like nah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like I like tell me am I bugging?
Nah, you're not bugging because like I mean obviously people are gonna say Snoop, or if you're watching this you'll say yo what about Snoop Dogg? But Snoop Dogg made it mainstream, but he didn't get into the intricacies of different type of strands and shit. So like Wiz and Currensy were really big on that, and I could say, like, when I listened to Snoop early on, it wasn't about, like, I just knew he smoked weed.
Yeah, we knew he smoked weed. He didn't focus on, like, that wasn't, he just was known as a weed smoker, but, like, that wasn't at the forefront of things. Wiz and them started this weed smoking shit. Like, they just made, like, a thing, and I think, it like, a lot of girls felt seen and, like, able to, like, do it and, like, not feel judged and shit like that for smoking.
Yeah, they definitely like branded it in a different way. Obviously, Snoop opened the door, but they kind of like took that ran with it, and just kind of diversified it. I do like that. I noticed Currensy kind of references different styles of rap in this and different rappers too. Like on the hook of this, he's like on the road to riches and diamond rings. Fly niggas do fly things, which is like a callback to Biggie. And he does that like maybe 2 to 3 different times on this album. I thought that was like pretty interesting that he did that.
It's a dope callback. Like I mean, like I said, like these dudes are nice. And also like what's crazy is how slept on Currensy is as like a lyricist.
Yeah, yeah.
He's very very good lyricist, and I think that because he's from New Orleans, right? Typically, dudes from New Orleans, like when you think about them, you think about Hot Boys, you think about like Master P and them, but like Currensy to me, is like a more well-rounded representation of New Orleans niggas. Wayne isn't like a representation of a New Orleans nigga at all. Like what he's presenting, I'm pretty sure at home he's probably like more like himself. But like Wayne, like like he's been famous for so long, and it just doesn't like cut.
It doesn't
through.
connect the same way.
But like if you go to New Orleans, you're gonna meet more people like Currensy than you will like Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Well, absolutely, because I think Wayne is a superstar, and he's just been out here for way longer.
Exactly, and like he's just just.
I don't even know how long how long was he even in New Orleans? He's been famous since he was 11.
He was famous since he was 11. So let's say this. He went to college in Houston when he was 18. So when he turned 18, that was in 2004, 2003?
2004, right? I think.
Right?
Yep.
So I think that Wayne, he was in Houston. And then he moved to Miami after Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like he was like out of New Orleans before he was 22.
Yeah.
So like his teenager, and then you got to think he spent all that time on tour.
Mm-hmm.
So like yeah, he wasn't home. Like obviously he's born and raised from New Orleans, but what I'm just saying is it's just that like Currensy like is a complete representation.
Currensy still
Master P was gone. Master P was in Oakland.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's absolutely a New Orleans nigga. Like don't get me wrong. I understand that these are people from New Orleans, but like they left home and like lived other places, so like they were exposed to other things. Currensy is a New Orleans nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Like never left. He lived there through Katrina. Like Katrina happened. Did you hear the story about Currensy with Katrina?
Yeah.
He stayed home.
He stayed.
And he said that like all his power went out. He was like, all right, let me just go to the store. Nigga goes to the store and he's looking around like, why everything look all desolate? Like, oh shit, these niggas robbing the store. Like, that's crazy. And he said that his homeboy was pissed at him because he made him stay. And he was like, bro, I'm going to kill you.
Bruh. Yeah, Currensy never left. I think he's still in New Orleans.
Right. So
like people still see him around, he's still around. He's still in the neighborhood. I like the part on this song. Oh no, we're on SDL now. Mm-hmm. SDL is produced by Sledgren. Another banger.
Right.
This album is just flowing. Mixtape. Just flowing. Sledgren's another producer that's been around for a really long time, especially like through the blog era. And he's kind of having a resurgence now. I think he was supposed to have an album that came out recently. I haven't checked to see if it came out,
I didn't know anything about that.
Man, Sledgren has been super consistent over the past couple years, especially. So, looking to see what he comes out with. But SDL is really dope. Again, Currensy starts his verse off with like a reference. I think this is a Memphis Bleak reference. I go to sleep with a picture of a Porsche on my wall. Nigga, I'm trying to come up on y'all. Bleak reference. He references a lot of New York in his raps.
He makes a wrestling reference in there too, right? He makes a WWF reference. Yeah, like I just think that this like they were in there and they were just really like just doing their thing. Mm-hmm. You wanna know what sucks is that Wiz wanted to do a project with Max B too, but like all those legal troubles happened.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like he basically Wiz reached out to all his favorite like people like and Currensy and Max B were at the top of his list.
Oh shit.
So I'm pretty close to sure when Max finally comes home that Wiz is gonna get in the lab with him and like cook something, even if we get one song.
Yeah, I could see that because Currency's a big fan of that era. I remember him geeking out over Cameron.
Right. Yeah.
Cameron was like his favorite rapper of all time.
Right. Yeah. That's for like, and that's especially for like a lot of the dudes in the South. Like they really, because it's just like that flashy shit. And like, niggas down South see that, they was like, yo, he talking that shit.
Yeah. It's like a make-believe world to them.
Yep.
In the Middle follows it up. It's produced by Big Chop. I'm not that crazy about this one. What you think?
It's cool. It's cool. Like it's a little bit of a dip off. Mm-hmm. But like you could tell, like, all right, this was probably after they had a couple songs in there, and they was like, all right, we need like a couple more.
Yeah. And this was before. Granted, there are still some good songs on here.
I think that's just the way they arranged the project.
Yeah, but this was before it became popular for projects to be like 8 to 9 tracks long. Because this would have been perfect if it was like 8 to 10 tracks.
I agree.
Perfect.
I feel like I feel like they just had so much stuff They were like, yo, come on, just put like what we got.
We feeding the streets.
Mm-hmm.
The blog sphere, rather.
Yeah.
Layover follows that up.
Right. So this is like where I like how conceptual, like you could, like when I'm listening to this, I could tell that Currensy was the conductor.
Mm-hmm.
The subject matter, the way that he's going about it, like, and like how like he always like uses references to cars or like airplanes or like flying and stuff like that. So like you got like the takeoff, you got what's the name of the song with planes?
Planes.
Yeah, it's called Planes. Yeah. You have the layover, like that's a Currensy thing.
Yeah, jet life.
Right. So like that's just something that like he's doing, and I just love how pretty much like these are the things like setting you in certain like moods for these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like on a layover, like you know what I'm saying, like you might like go like eat an edible or something like that, or like do something to relax while you're waiting for the next one.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was dope.
That is cool. So it wasn't until this song when I was listening back that I started realizing like, yo, Currensy is actually cleaning Wiz up on a couple of these. It's hard to tell when you're listening because they sound so good together. So they kind of just weave into each other's styles like a lot. So like it's hard to really start thinking with your hip hop mind because when you listen to two rappers naturally, if you're a hip hop head, listen to two rappers on the same song, you start trying to be like, all right, who has the better verse? It just naturally seeps into your mind, like, yo, whose verse is better?
Nah, I absolutely was comparing. And it's like, it wasn't even like a hard, like, oh man, I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nah, like Currensy was like really like showing a masterclass to Wiz. And I think like Wiz was just really, really happy to be there.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait till when we get like a Wiz documentary on like his career and like his meteoric rise. Because like I feel that Wiz is like in a unique space where like he pretty much like he got the deal with Rodham, right? And he was able to get into a space to like work with people that like he like idolized and looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kanye ruined that shit for him. Like, but I know that he fucked with Kanye until he did that.
Oh, that shit.
Yeah, man. But I mean, we got one of the most iconic tweets ever where he says that Wiz has cool pants.
Wiz wears cool pants.
Yeah. But
he's like, KK is weed, fool.
Yeah, like I think that like Wiz, I think that like the lifestyle that like Wiz has and like things that he's able to do, I really think like he was not meant to do anything else. Like this is like perfect for him. I'm really like happy I want to meet Wiz. Like I just think that like where he's at and like the things that he's been able to accomplish and do, and like you don't ever hear a person say a bad thing about him.
Yeah.
And the only time like that I saw like Wiz like not look unbothered was an interview about Mac Miller before Mac passed. But like Mac you know, they're from Pittsburgh, so like he was saying that like Mac was too far gone. And he was like, I can't have him around me because like I try to get him on the right path and he don't want to. Mm-hmm. And like it seemed like Wiz kind of like gave up on him.
Oh wow.
And like
was this about like drugs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like sad because I'm just like, I know Wiz, like if Wiz is saying that, like in my heart, I feel like he probably tried everything he could to help him. But it's just like, yo, bro, like I'm a father, like I have a staff, like I have all these people I have to take. I can't take time to just like do these things with you. But you know, like he was very supportive of Mac when he came up. So I think like I know it hurt him when Mac like when he passed away. But like I was like, damn, like Wiz Khalifa don't seem like a person that like gives up on people, but it seemed like Wiz probably felt like I'm trying to help you, you don't want to help yourself. But like I don't think that Wiz understood like, all right, he's suffering from depression. He's suffering from something, and like, you know, it's more ways to go about it, but he didn't have the tools to get past that. Yeah, so I hope that the lesson in that is that like Wiz understood to give people more grace.
Yeah, that's true. Damn, I didn't know about that. Mm-hmm. Damn. It goes into Drunk Dialing, the album. And we've all been here, right? Just making the calls 2 a.m.
Yeah, remember one of mine?
Are you up text? Whoa, what's up?
Mine?
Which
years
one?
Ago?
Which one?
Which one? Motherfucker, I only got one.
Which one? You talking about the I don't
Shorty, yeah, because we don't say no names. But remember, and Shorty's mans hit you up like, yo, this man.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I remember exactly where I was. This is around when I first started the job that I'm still at right now. When that happened. Damn.
Yeah,
I remember
that sucked, man. Like, to this day, I'm like, yo, why did y'all have y'all messages connected, man? What the fuck?
Sheesh. That shit was crazy.
Yeah,
oh,
man. That guy hates
me
me till this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, anyway, good song.
Yeah,
good song. Hits a little closer to heart than it should, obviously. But we've all been there in one way or another.
That was
or
long time ago.
We've all missed the text that we didn't want to miss. And you fell asleep. You know, the "Are you still up?"
Mm-hmm.
Very triggering.
Right.
But yeah, that takes us into "How Fly."
The title song.
The title song of the album. It's produced by Big Chop.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel?
This is amazing, and like this, you hear this beat quite often, actually. So like, I was just like, yo, these guys are like going in here and like they are going in like fucking assassins with the tracks. Like, I just want to know like how much weed was consumed, and the conversation. I want to know like what the process was with making the project. A lot of the time, their interviews that they've had, like they say like the obvious things, but I really would like to know like what was the process like the structuring of the songs. Like, yo, I wrote this to this beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you hear these, it's just like it worked out too well. Like these, like, you know how like people talk about Gunna and Lil Baby, like how they make projects and they work really well together.
Yeah,
I want to know like with them, like what's the process with these two? Because like I don't understand how. Well, obviously at this time Wiz wasn't Wiz, but Wiz could never make a project this good. And like they say, oh no, you cannot put this out for
right.
And it has original production.
Yeah, this era is over. They're gonna try to capitalize.
Absolutely, look at Meek.
It's done.
Yeah.
But man, I am appreciative of this era so much. Like a lot of free shit came out, but like it was free and niggas wasn't half-assing. You think about that? It's crazy. It's a crazy concept.
Right. And brands was coming up because you had brands like the Hundreds, Miska like just sponsoring. They were like, yo, we'll give you this and we just exclusively put it out at our locations and shit like that.
And
like, I just think, yeah, man, those dudes are chilling. That, you wanna know what's crazy? I wonder, like, I don't know, like, what the owners of Dat Piff do, but, like, they definitely should have been the ones that should have created Rolling Loud, not the guys that created Rolling Loud. Yeah. Dat Piff absolutely should have started their own festival.
Dat Piff definitely could have, because a lot of people fucked with Dat Piff, and just off the nostalgia alone, a lot of artists would have fucked with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, they had the relationships. Like, it just, hindsight is 20/20, but I just think about that. Like, they had the relationship with, like, all of these artists, and they could have just made, like, a fucking playlist lineup of artists to come out and perform. Like, their mixtapes that are on Dat Piff. Like, I would love for Dat Piff. Like Dat Piff, if y'all do this, just, like, just make sure I get all access. I don't even want money.
Yeah.
Just do a festival where, like, you have some of your most prominent mixtape artists do their sets of the projects that were on Dat Piff. Man, sell out.
That would be insane.
Sell out.
Because automatically you think of Big Sean, you think of Meek Mill, these artists that had, like, the top 10 best-selling mixtapes of all time.
Right. Like, Meek, what isn't Dream Chasers 2 like 10 times platinum or some shit? Or Diamond or some crazy shit?
And that's wild because they gave credibility to these artists and their mixtapes. When it was just free and just going on the internet, they found a way to actually still give certifications to these projects.
Right.
It's dope. That was a big deal. Like, I remember trying to download Dream Chasers and my computer crashing and shit because it was so many people trying to get it at the same time.
Right.
It's a crazy time, man. So How Fly is followed up by Friendly. I think Friendly was actually on a Wiz project before this. I think it was it Deal or No Deal or something like that, I think it was called.
Deal or No Deal, and Burn After Reading came out after this as well, right? So it wasn't that one. Don't remember, but probably.
Yeah, but I think it did. I'm gonna just fact check that. But what you think about this one?
Friendly is one of the second like low point in the album for me. Like, it's cool, but I like skip past it.
Okay.
It's not like it wasn't like I wasn't like impressed that I skipped the song.
Okay. Yeah, no, I wasn't that impressed by it. But yeah, they kind of just shoehorned this in because they worked together on this project. They worked together on this song from the Deal or No Deal project from Wiz. And then they just threw it on here. But that takes us into The Life. How Fly is produced by Nessia Beats. How you feel?
That like it picks the project back up. It picks up the mood.
This beat is hard.
And yeah, like it's one of those beats where I'm just like, damn. And like, think about it, they have 2 songs where they named it How Fly technically. and like you probably just couldn't decide.
I was like, fuck it, we high.
Yeah.
Throw this shit on there.
Nah, I mean, like I said, like listening to this project is just like a smooth listen. I don't think it's something that you're supposed to overthink when you're listening to this album. I think it's more so like you're supposed to be enjoying it and supposed to like be put into like a certain kind of like mood. So it's something that like I really like look forward to listening. I was actually like looking for like when we were talking about, because me and Reg, what we do is like we give each other. I give Reg a break and I give him like 2 days where I don't talk about FKB stuff. And then after that, I'll be like, all right, what albums we doing next? And like, I was like, I want to do How Fly. Mm-hmm. And it's because like I was looking for like blog era out like mixtapes that like are timeless, mm-hmm. that like you go back to, and like if How Fly dropped today, it would get the same reaction. It wouldn't sound dated. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that you can say about this project that you feel like, oh, nah, this is some old shit. Like, you know, like, nah, it just works.
Yeah, it will work today just as much as it did back in the day, because people just love these guys
together. It will probably be more groundbreaking now. Shit.
People love these guys together. It definitely would, because they built their solo careers even better than back then. Like, they're in great places right now.
And this project, like, Wiz went on a run after this project, and so did Currensy.
Yeah.
Like, they both went on, like, ridiculous runs after this. And I know for Currensy, it was like very satisfying to him, because you got to think like he worked with three situations where they probably told him like, you'll never be anything without me. And he had to just keep proving motherfuckers wrong. That's why he's independent, like, and just does it on his own the way he does it.
And I think I want to say it's very impressive that he's been independent for this long, because at some point artists usually give the big labels a break. Mm-hmm. And try to go over there to go see if it works out. But Currensy, even though he's had those deals in the past, that was like mad long ago. Mm-hmm. And he kind of just left that and just stuck to this the whole time. And he's independent, and it doesn't stop the amount of artists that still want to work with him.
Exactly.
You know, like he still works with really big names. So he's just using that to his advantage. He's like one of those artists that's really, truly just coasting, as long as he can do what he wants in his life to maintain.
You know who
I fuck with that.
You know who really fucks with Currensy? Styles P.
Yeah, actually,
he really fucks with Currensy. They have a few
songs together.
They have a few songs together, and after like the whole situation with, you know, when their situation at Interscope dissolved, like he was very like big on the fact of like, yo, this dude is doing it independent, trying to convince Jadakiss, and Jadakiss is the only one that's like, no, I'm not, I'm staying label.
Yeah, but
like, you know, they always like lots always get deals and like work out things, but Currensy was like who really like kind of like gave like Styles knows the music industry, but pretty much gave him perspective. And I think that that's dope, because Currency's younger than Styles, but like Styles, he was able to educate Styles. You know, Styles is a humble dude.
Yeah,
and like able to like take that and do his own thing musically, and like that's how he moves. And I just think that's dope.
What if you remember Koch Records?
Yeah.
When niggas was saying that they was making $7 an album.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah, like
it was supposed to be this independent label, and they were saying like, "Yo, come to Koch, you can make $7 a record instead of 50 cents a record."
Right.
And it just never made sense to me, because it's like, well, if that's the case, shouldn't everyone be running the Koch?
Well, the thing is that when they were at Koch, like pretty much they give you a deal, and like they give you distribution. So that means like they give you their relationships with like record stores and things like that. But that means you have to do your own promo. You got to buy your own billboards. You don't get a budget. You pay for your own studio time.
Yeah. So with
that being said, that was like the trade-off. And for Jim Jones, that was perfect, because like he was a studio rat, and like he would just be like, as a matter of fact, sorry, I don't even want to associate Jim Jones in rap. He was a studio nut, and he would just go in there and just work. So for somebody like Currensy, who has his own studio, records his own music, has his own engineer that he pays out of his own pocket, and then it's just like, all right, cool, here's the music, y'all ship these out to all of the CD spots that you have. And like now, being indie is even easier, because all you gotta do is upload your project, you know what I'm saying, to one of the, I forgot what the service is, and just like it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, like everywhere, like it's fine.
A lot of the independent artists use DistroKid now.
There you go.
Yeah, is that the one you talking about?
One of them.
Yeah, a lot of artists use DistroKid because it's a way to kind of monetize your music, because you could put it on there. You could see how much people are paying for it. They have that option, and then also there's one I think that you're referencing that kind of just kicks off to all the streaming.
Yeah, because like when I go on like one of my deep dives trying to understand the music industry, the reason why artists make so little on their projects is because of like all the money that's spent. Usually they don't have their own studio time's paid for. Mm-hmm. They get an advance, then they count all of the money that is spent before the album is made, promo, like where they have you have a billboard in fucking West Bubblefuck, Wyoming or some shit like that. They charge you for all of that. But if you're an artist and like you could put up all the money and say, I don't need you to do anything, I just need your connections to like outlets and pay for spins on radio, or right. Pay for ads, because that's payola. Pay for the radio ads and stuff like that. Like that's what a lot of artists need, and that's like what they do. So it's a gratifying thing.
All right, so Surface to Air is the next song.
Okay.
I actually really like this one. How'd you feel about it?
I like it a lot. Another song. It's weird because it's like when you hear us reviewing it, or well, for me, it's just like, yeah, like it's another song and it's like another reference to, like going through the motions and being high, but I'm not mad at it because it's like, this is what I come to this project for.
Yeah.
Like it gets the job done and the songs are actually like high quality. So ladies and gentlemen, don't think that like I'm saying, oh yeah, because this time I'll be like, yeah, this song sounds the same and it's boring. No, it's entertaining every single time, and it's just like with Pusha T rapping about coke. I don't want to hear these niggas rap about nothing but being high and smoking weed.
Yeah, these niggas together, I don't want y'all rapping about politics.
Yeah.
Like,
ever.
Give me what I came for.
Yeah,
this is what I'm here
that's
for.
That's a fact. I don't want to hear I don't want y'all to tell me anything like trying to improve my life unless it got weed involved in it. Like, just tell me to smoke more and I'll be better and I'll listen to you.
So that one, of course, is followed up by Over the Building. Over the Building is... Do I have production credit on it? I do not, but I'll get that for you in a second. How do you feel about this one?
Over the Building is good, and it's like the album's starting to wind down. And the good thing is that like it's spread out. So they have those two bad... Well, not bad. They had those two low point songs on a project, but the album ends the mixtape ends really strong.
Yes, it does. Yeah, for whatever reason, I can't find a production, but Over the Building is followed up by Rolling Up. Oh, actually, I did have a note on Over the Building. It sounds like Manny Fresh did that.
It could be, and maybe that was just one of Currency's people that came in and did it, and maybe like what I'm saying, it was like on some humbug shit. Maybe that's why like the producer's not listed, but like I said, I really, really like I do like the bounce, the New Orleans bounce kind of feel to it, and it was cool. So it did its job, and like I said, it's a good way to end. Like it's good, like second to last ending for the project.
Yeah, and it officially ends off with Rolling Up. Right. Rolling Up is produced by High Tech, actually.
Yeah, which is dope, and I'm pretty sure Currensy made that relationship while he was spending so much time in New York.
Yeah, that's true. And we needed one of these. Like, one of these songs, I'm surprised they didn't have multiple of these kind of songs to kind of like talk about how you smoke to get away from the hardships of of life and as an escape and a nice beautiful escape that you need or whatever. I'm actually surprised they didn't tap into this early on in the project. But it works for a closer.
It's an excellent closer, and for me, like I really thoroughly like champion this project. And that's like why whenever like I'm talking about like mixtapes or like, rappers that don't get their due, when someone says Currency, I have no rebuttal. I have no like argument because it's true. Like remember like 2 years ago we had Kim Chanel, shout out to Kim Chanel, and we were I think we were talking about like underrated rappers, and Kim like championed like Currency. I had like, and some people, I forgot who it was, they were like no, and I was like, nah, I feel you, sis, because it's true. Like Currency like is really like he comes from a different kind of cloth. Like it's the equivalent. Like basically, currency lineage is like if you're an artist that was on Bad Boy and then went to Rockefeller and then had a situation with fucking like L.A. Reid or some shit like that. Like he's went through the boot camp of working with the most prominent labels and really understanding how a fine machine should work.
And it's a trail of great relationships.
Right.
Like he still has all his relationships intact,
right.
which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like you don't see shit like that.
I just think it's dope. And like I remember when Where the Cash App came out on the Dedication 2.
Yeah.
And
I remember Remy was on it.
Yeah. And like I was so impressed. Like I was like, yo, I kind of feel like he got Wayne on that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And like that time, like Wayne was at like his full powers.
Yeah,
like,
nobody was getting
all the
Wayne
Infinity
on shit.
Stones, right? And like Currensy came on, I was like, nah, this dude. Like I kept running Currency verse back. Like I wish it worked out with them, but I'm glad that it didn't because I don't think the way the artist that Currensy is, he couldn't outshine Wayne the way that like Drake did. And the only reason I felt like Drake came up on Wayne was because Wayne went to jail.
Yeah, that was that could have made or broke Drake.
Yeah,
that time frame.
The best thing, like I know it sounds fucked up to say, but the best thing that ever happened to Drake was Wayne going to jail.
Yeah, because Wayne was just on fire. There was no way he was going to supersede him that way.
Right.
But that brings us to the end of this project. Very nice trip down memory lane. The project still kind of holds up in a sense. Like there's not much dated material on here. Something like this, like you said, could come out now and it'll still kind of be relevant.
Yep.
What's your rating?
5 out of 5 waffles. It's an absolute classic. Wow. Undeniable classic. It set a tone. Like you just said, it can be dropped at any time and it'll do well. They set a standard and like they influence so much. Like they made stoner niggas like be seen. Mm-hmm. They made girls that smoke weed like you know be like open about it, right? And then lyrically, like what they did, it was just something that like Wiz is not a lyrical dynamo, but like he makes good records, right? And then Currensy, his name is the Hot Spitter, so it's just like it was a perfect marriage between the both of them. They didn't have like some superstar producers. They didn't have like a well-known producer till like the very end with High Tech, right, on this project, and they just put it out. Until this day, people probably still listen to it like it's brand new, like it just came out. It doesn't feel old. It doesn't feel dated. Like I said, everything just works out, even down to the fucking the cover of it. Like it's just an iconic project. What they did, and like I just feel that like so many things like I can like say was influenced by that. And then like I said, after this project, they both have mixtape runs or just projects that like just set them ablaze. And like I just feel like I feel like it's hard to argue that it's not a classic or like it doesn't like stand the test of time or it doesn't set a standard or there aren't rappers who like listen to this project and like set out to like make a project. So that's my argument.
So I'm gonna give it a 4.5. Whew. I'll give it a 4.5. The reason why, so it is very enjoyable. I just think that it runs a little longer than it should. Especially, it's a feel-good album. It's a feel-good experience. But I think, like I said, if this project was about 10 tracks, it would have been a fucking classic. What we have on here, you know, there's certain moments where I'm just like, you know, the experience is kind of a little draining because I'm just like, all right, like I get it. And maybe that's because I'm not a weed smoker. But I think this project with a tight 10 would have been perfect.
Wait till Regg starts driving. We get like my goal for 2023 is by summer of 2023 to get Regg driving. I truly think because you don't drive, that's why you're saying that this should be a shorter project. Okay. Because of how you commute.
Well, because you said you and your boy used to drive around because you know you wanted to hear it. Yeah. So I
guarantee you, once you start driving a vehicle and listening to this project, it won't matter to you that it's 15 tracks. Like that's like the difference. Like and that means a lot for some people, and I think that for some projects, that experience like changes things when it's a longer project. Because I'm not a fan of long projects, but I'm okay with it if the music is good and it's consistent. And for me, that's what this project is. So okay, I respect you taking that half a point away because you don't have that part of it. But I'm telling you, that means something. Okay. Maybe one day, like I'll kidnap you or whatever, like that, and like we'll do that. We'll drive around to this project and like you'll see
and listen to this. Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, that's been our rating. I encourage everybody to revisit this project. Of course, you know, if you listen to Wiz now or you listen to Currensy now, I think you would definitely like this project. It's really nice. It's dope that it popped up on streaming. I hope that more artists keep doing that so we can have access to like all the archives. I'm First Class Regg.
I'm Taurian B.
We out of here.
Catch you next time.
These are their stories.
Dun, dun.